City. Welcome to K News at 6, a 45 minutes of regular newscast presentation about happenings in Liberia and the rest of our one global world. My name is Lorena Wizard, presenting this July 10, 2025 edition of K News. We will take this very short break to be back with details on today's development. We take our very first development here, where the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has officially dedicated a modern peace hunt and cassava processing plant in Todi district of Masurado County. The initiative is part of the Girls and Young Women Take Action for Peace project, which is implemented by Plan International Liberia with funding from the United Nations Peace Building Fund. Speaking at the ceremony, Gender Minister Mamin Horace Colley described the project as a master initiative in advancing peace building and women's economic empowerment at the community level. She said the peace hunts are not just structures but symbols of resilience.
I like to mention that
leadership, empowering women to lead dialogue, resolve conflict, and support community development. So far, over 1,000 girls and young women across target communities are actively involved in peace building on the project. Minister Horace Colley urged residents to take ownership of the facility, calling it a platform for unity, mentorship, and transformation. The Gender Ministry reaffirmed its commitment to promoting peace, inclusion, and economic empowerment for women and youth in Liberia.
Shelter, which symbolizes an integrated approach to peace and development, is very important and should be very much appreciated by even the UN Peacebuilding Fund, the government of Liberia, and all of our key partners. By aligning economic empowerment with peace building, we are ensuring that the dividends of peace are not abstract. Abstract, I know we all know what abstract is, because I see everybody here reading and so. But practical and transformative. This facility offers opportunity for food processing. We already heard them during the testimonial, hearing people talk about the training and what the facility will offer to women in the community. We heard about income generation. We heard about the food processing, particularly the gari. And we also heard people talking about resilience. So the project will also build the community, especially women's resilience in any form of shock, especially food insecurity. The agro-processing plant shelter is also a strategic investment in agricultural transformation. It addresses food security or food safety, value addition, and it reduces post-harvest losses. Meaning when you face the cassava, you go, you dig your cassava. The cassava will not spoil in your hand because
And that's the voice of the Gender Minister, Horace Colley, there speaking. A new regulation of the Liberia National Police aimed at reducing traffic congestion in the densely populated commercial district of Red Light in Pinsville has ignited frustration among tricycle riders. On Monday, July 7, 2025, the Liberia National Police announced that tricycle riders will no longer be allowed to park near the main traffic zone in Red Light. Instead, Keke riders have been mandated to use the board.
Because it's where I'm
is intended to ease traffic congestion in the Busan Red Light commercial district. However, several tricycle riders have expressed unhappiness with the decision. In apparent retaliation to the police mandate, In the morning hours of Thursday, July 10, 2025, tricycle riders held a protest by parking their tricycle in front of Cool FM as a way of calling police attention. The chairman of the Painesville Tricycle Union said DeMille said the police should have provided a new parking area before the restriction. According to DeMille, the current situation is making it difficult for tricycle riders to operate smoothly. The protest led a momentary halt to the pedestrian smooth movement.
Action to be this morning.
Okay, you see this action that the police, I'm speaking as head of the cyclists. You see, when the police started this, which was on Monday, get my point there, please. We took our time, we went there, right? With the chief of traffic and 116 in Raleigh. They tell us to strategize, look for points where we think that we'll stop for the buncher that they gave us. Fine. We look at the good work that they did up there. There's no problem. You turn out a rich red line, we don't have problem with it, right? But now, before around what Taylor Junction here, the opposite lane, because when you come from Yangori, the opposite lane, you see cars they line up. Cars are line up on the road. Now, you want to control a situation to put it under control. We went, the order yesterday was still right like again. We went opposite where the cars are parking, where the people that said the parking gave us before that the mark. The riders, last night we went with sensitized there that what the government is doing up there, you let's avoid a camp in our queue. This morning, we went to go for the queue. The commander in right light because he don't have a child, because he don't have a home, because he don't have that.
That's the voice of the chairman of the Painesville Tricycle Union, said DeMille speaking. And for this development, the Africa Venture Group, in partnership with the National Investment Commission, has provided a comprehensive update on the 2025 Liberia Investment Conference, which is to take place at the EJS Ministerial Complex on July 15 to 18 this year. The event is organized in partnership with the Office of the Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn and the National Investment Commission. NOVA Ambassador Williams Anderson noted that the theme of the conference is Partnering for Transparent. He stated that the conference is aimed at attracting private sector investors. Ambassador Anderson urged the government entities and all citizens to take the initiative to support Liberia.
Through the 18th at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Monrovia. This national event is being organized in partnership with the Office of the Vice President, who leads this year, and the National Investment Commission, NIC. The theme of this year's conference is Partnering for Prosperity. This conference is not just an event. It is a strategic performance and a strategic platform that is designed to attract private sector investments in key sectorial areas. So again, the heads of government or the Vice President office leads what we're doing this year. All agencies of government is involved. You see now the Ministry of Information. This is their contribution. They're talking to you, and we are now, NOVA is talking to you. And I, as the CEO of NOVA, I'm asking you, because the President has given me this task to organize. As you all know, I'm former chief of protocol. What protocol do? We organize the government, we organize the President. I'm organizing my country as a private citizen now to say, let's come together, work together to build our country. So, special guest speakers will be at the conference. You know, you all will have a very nice time. It's a 3-day conference that is going to be very impactful, informative. So we're encouraging you, like last year, like you did. Come along, we'll have spots for you. As you all know, we'll feed you well, we'll take good care of you. All right? So come and let's build Liberia together.
And that's the voice of Nova Ambassador Williams Anderson. Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has urged the Boubacar Unity Party-led government to extend its national reconciliation initiative beyond the reburial of former leaders and honoring memory of veterans of Liberia's 14-year intermittent.
On Saturday, when President Boubacar, on behalf of, apologized to all of those
efforts, but averred that such reconciliation efforts can now be achieved amidst political relationships and tribal decisions. She cautioned the Boubacar administration to take practical approaches to rally the support of political relationships and tribal leaders for a general reconciliation draft that will serve the best interests of all citizens. According to Africa's first female president, the Unity Party-led government can now easily succeed in achieving its agenda for inclusive development amidst national division. Madam Sirleaf pointed out that honoring past leaders through symbolic reburial is necessary for a national reconciliation, but the bigger picture remains reconciling the day-to-day national issues.
Saturday, when President Boubacar, on behalf of, apologized to all of those who've been hurt. We did it then, and it was done. It's just done again. Now, you may say you did it then, but did it actually, heal the wounds? Did it actually bring us together in the reconciliation? Are we not more at this time, our systems have fallen apart? But anyway, let's consider that a good step. And let's hope that now there can be follow-ups to make it real, to make reconciliation real. We still have a very divided society in so many ways, whether it's along political lines, whether it's on ethnic lines, whether it's on even, you may say, religious lines. Even that should not even be. But we do have those divisions, and it would take an extra effort on all the leaders to be able to bring it back. You cannot have a nation this divided and hope to achieve the goals that we have set in our agenda and in our vision.
And that's the voice of the Liberian president, that's the former Liberian president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, there, urging the Boubacar Unity Party-led government to extend its national reconciliation initiative beyond the reburial of former leaders. As the much publicized July 17 protest approaches, renowned Liberian SL political activist Martin Colley has cautioned the government and organizers of the planned protest to collaborate to avoid a chaotic situation. Martin Colley, who canvassed for the ruling Unity Party to assume state power, said the government under President Joseph Boubacar must uphold Article 17 of the 1986 Constitution to protect the rights of citizens who may be involved in the protest to a peaceful assembly. The Liberian SL political activists urged the Boubacar administration to endure a high level of tolerance for criticism and grievances against its regime. He further called on government through the Liberian National Police and the led protest organizers stand to ensure smooth coordination for a peaceful assembly to prevent potential clashes between state security and would-be protesters. Colley emphasized that protecting the right of citizens to protest is part of the democratic principles of the state, but reminded the July 17 protesters to remain cognizant of their right to express their disenchantment and disengage from provoking the free movement of others.
It is run by a constitution. We have to be clear about that. The Constitution guarantees two things. Number one, right. Number two, responsibilities. I would like to state for the record, it is the right of Mr. Molu and his civil society to protest, to assemble. And that right is protected under Article 17 of the United States Constitution. And the government of the day, the government of President Joseph Yoman Boakai, is under obligation to protect that right. Yesterday we protested. If protest was right yesterday, it is also right today. In fact, it is a core principle of our democracy. So it is the right of Mr. Molu and his group to protest. I will ask the police to collaborate with them, to coordinate with them in order for the protest to be peaceful. On the other side, Mr. Molu and his group also have responsibilities under the Constitution to ensure that the protest is well organized in order to not disrupt the free flow of traffic, because other people have rights to free movement. They have the right to assemble, other people have rights to free movement. So there's two ways, right? If the police also have the responsibility to ensure law and order, they need to meet halfway to say, look, okay, we recognize your right to protest. However, we have to organize it in a way that normal activities are not disrupted.
And that's the voice of the renowned Liberia political activist Martin Colley, cautioning the government and organizers of the planned protest to collaborate to avoid a chaotic situation. The House of Representatives has received a report from its Joint Committee on National Security and Judiciary endorsing the establishment of the Liberia National Police Trust Fund. During Tuesday plenary session, the House Chief Clerk Major Sion read the committee findings which support the creation of a dedicated mandate that's McKinsey aimed at strengthening police operations, particularly in law enforcement, crime prevention, and public safety. The proposed law title, An Act to Establish the Liberia National Police Trust Fund of 2025, highlights long-standing logistical and operational challenges facing the Liberia National Police. The committee believes that sustainable and accountable funding is key to improving professionalism within the force. If enacted, the law will authorize funding from both government and international sources to be managed by a board of trustees under strict financial guidance. Lawmakers say the initiative will reduce reliance on ad hoc budgetary support and ensure consistent funding for critical police services, training, and infrastructure.
National Security and Judiciary Fund, quote-unquote, an act to establish the Liberia National Police Trust Fund of 2025. Background of the report. A bill titled, quote-unquote, an act to establish the Liberia National Police Trust Fund of 2025 was submitted to the plenary of the House of Representatives on June 19, 2025. The submission was done under the sponsorship of Honorable James M. Colette, Representative District 2, Bond County. In his submission letter, an argument on the floor, the sponsor of this bill entreated plenary to pass the bill into law, indicating that its passage tends to benefit the Liberia National Police in particular and the Republic in general. It is understood that when enacted into law, the instrument will function in supporting a range of law enforcement priorities, including improving police infrastructure, upgrading equipment, enhancing officer training and welfare, and boosting community policing initiatives. The proposed fund will also focus on strengthening intelligence gathering and emergency response capacity and function as a paramount autonomous entity with the authority to own assets, enter into contracts, and pursue legal actions as necessary.
That's the voice of Measure Sion. chief clerk of the House. Representative Sumo Mowa of Masurado Electoral District No. 3 has called for a swift national response to recent insecurity citing an overwhelming escalation in armed robbery and public safety threats during night hours. Addressing schools of journalists on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Representative Mowa disclosed that he had officially communicated with the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police requesting urgent intervention in areas such as Johnsonville, Pipeline, Jacobtown, Red Hill, Duboro, and Bannersville community. The district lawmaker emphasized the need to introduce controlled no-go zones aimed at easing traffic and strengthening nighttime patrols.
Also, a letter was sent to the IG of the Liberia National Police for issue relating to high rate of armed robbery in community at night. It is essential to address the issue of protests for the sake of citizen safety and to focus on implementing no-go zone to facilitate another traffic flow. Additionally, attention should be given to the crime rate at night. Citizens have worked hard to start businesses only to be robbed at gunpoint with a rusty single barrel, and have every time people have taken away what belongs to them. I personally experienced this in Johnsonville, where some well-armed bike rider attacked another person on the street. Mr. IG, your efforts are appreciated, but more emphasis is needed on crime prevention during May 9. Please visit Red Line, Johnsonville, Pipeline, Jacobtown, Dupero, and Bannersville. Secondly, I feel very frustrated as a young person about how the youth of this country are taken for granted. Over the years, government have not decided enough effort to address the challenges faced by young people. Many talented youth who excelled in school and participated in soccer league have now become drugs addicts, so have become vulnerable in society due to unemployment. However, they are being asked to join the district league by the Liberia Football Association without receiving stipend despite being included in the budget. The Liberia Football Association approved a $5.7 million budget for the 2025 operational year during its 29th Ordinary Congress on April 12, 2025. The budget was adopted with a vote of 28 in favor and 12.
Meanwhile, Representative Mowa expressed deep concern over what he called the consistent neglect of young people by national authorities. He lamented the rapid increase in drug addiction among school-aged youth, many of whom he said were once actively involved in community football leagues were now victims of joblessness and substance abuse. Representative Mowa criticized the Liberia National Football Association for inviting district youth to join National League activities without offering employment or stipends despite a $5.7 million operational budget.
Over 11,000 foreigners and other occupying positions that belongs to Liberians per the Article 45.1 of the Decent Work Act 2018. And they say should have been filled by Liberian citizens, but not yet. They are filled with foreigners. Are we considering the 500 graduates of Cottington Graduate School? Are we also considering 1,000 graduates from other universities that need yet they have not been given job? Have we also considered that young people may not be able to afford the 130 fee for vocational training? If young people cannot secure job through government support for themselves and their family, a hungry youth will lack the strength and motivation to join football league. Having just finished the county league, we now need to prioritize and cut necessary expenses. Major public concerns including flooding, drugs issues, and training programs.
And that's the voice of Representative Sumo Mowa there. And for this development, The House Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Development Planning has commended several government functionaries for what the committee has termed a strong contribution to national revenue collection. The committee presented the first quarter of the 2025 Revenue Performance Report along with details of a new loan agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the African Development Bank as well as the African Development Fund. The agreement aims to provide institutional support to enhance domestic revenue mobilization and advance reform initiatives. Maryland County Electoral District No. 1 Representative P. Malcolm also ongoing challenges facing the Liberia Revenue Authority, which, according to him, are undermining Liberia's ability to generate sufficient funds for national development. Representative Jure noted during the hearing that the committee has discovered that several government employees are not paying income taxes, which he described as a violation of the law. He called on members of the House of Representatives to take the matter seriously and implement appropriate measures.
Fellow police, this is a crime in the opinion of the committee. Once you are withholding, your role as a withholding entity is not different from that of LRA, because once you withhold at the end of the month, you're supposed to remit them withholdings right away to the LRA. But most institutions are not doing so. But they pay salaries, they withhold, and they don't remit. We feel that this is a crime and it's a serious matter, and this House needs to take a serious action on it. We also realize that our colleagues or some other employees, judiciary branch, all of us, by law, we pay income tax, all of us, but we realize that there are people working in the judiciary branch that are not paying income taxes as well, and this is also wrong. We realize that all fees that are collected by different agencies, internally generated funds, those funds are not being captured. If you are running a hospital, for example, and you collect registration fees, or if you are in a court and they pay or fines or all of these fees, all of them should be put together, captured, and used by your entity. The percentages that are used should be captured so that this can be counted against you in your budget, but we carry up or increase the budget for the year. These things are not being done. We also realize that in some of the legislations that we have passed before, they are ambiguous. We need clarity. We need to review those laws so that we can set a path of clear understanding of how taxes should be collected in this country. Honorable Speaker, fellow colleagues, we made a couple of recommendations towards this report, and these recommendations, we think, if we work together, we can increase our budget, covering the leakages and working towards correcting those ambiguities that are within the law.
And that's the voice of the Maryland County Electoral District No. 1 Representative P. Mark Jure. And for this development, the Liberia Council of Churches has ended a one-day meeting with the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day organizers of the July 17 protest at its headquarters in Congo Town. Speaking with K News minutes after the meeting, which was held on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, LCC Secretary General Reverend Christopher Toure disclosed that the meeting is intended to encourage the leadership of Stand for Protest. The LCC wants to know the demands or points the Stand wants to put forward to the government of Liberia for an amicable redress. Reverend Toure explained that the council is expected to meet with the Ministry of Justice and the Liberia National Police to provide security for the protesters in order to avoid violence.
The issue of the detail in regard to the protests, the July 17 protests that starts, according to Stand, on the 15th and after the 17th. And the issue was discussed how to do with the peace the non-violent approach to the protest. We've done not a violent approach to protest, for people to be able to respect the law, the issue of respectability of the law, the issue of making sure that people's rights are also respected, and also a follow-up for us to be able to meet also with the government, the Ministry of Justice, and that of the Liberia National Police in terms of the protection of the protesters, and to make sure that the whole process. So by tomorrow, we want to meet with the government, of the National Police, and that of the Ministry of Justice to be able to make sure that everything is on course. As for the issue of being spread, we did it June 7th. It's our responsibility as the peace actor in the country to make sure that everything is peaceful. The Council of Churches took action on June 7th when the protests in 2019, when the protests were carried out by the COP. And we did like minor. We met with the COP. We also met with the government. And we made sure that the necessary acts were put into place so that the protest was not violent. Although we don't have the mindset of people, but we make sure that those who are carrying out the protest, their process is non-violent. And also the government also provides security for protesters. We also did it with the attire suffering, with the ANC-led protest. And so this is our responsibility as the Council of Churches to make sure that whatever protest that is carried out, that protest is non-violent. Because people have to demonstrate their rights to protest, but that protest should be non-violent. So Stan will be providing to us, they will be providing also us in writing those the points that they will be lifting up. And so until we can receive that from them, we know that they are just setting up the stage for their demonstration or their protest, which will be July 17th. And we hope to receive. They also inform us that they will also provide us those information officially with regard to their position, and that also will hold on to that. I know the government also has received it, and we will work with the both parties to make sure that the protest is peaceful, is non-violent, and so that whatever that comes out of the protest in terms of recommendations, they can be looked at.
Meanwhile, the organizers of the July 17 protest have strongly warned against any attempts by the Liberia National Police and the National Security Agency to allow armed agents to infiltrate the protesters so as to create the basis for unprovoked violence. STAN's national chairman, Mulbar Magoo, disclosed that the protesters who will be in the tens of thousands will invoke a mechanism.
Our message for him is, as the plaintiff, as they desire, as the plaintiff to save
it. From heaven can persuade STAN and is collaborating civil society organizations. According to Molu, STAN has no plan of staging a violent protest, but anything of such will be from the Liberia government plan agent.
But our message for him is, as the plaintiff, as they desire, as the plaintiff to send agents, to send spies, to plant weapons among protesters, and to plant evidence to create the suspicion or to create the basis for a crackdown, we have activated our groundswell of citizens network to be on alert for any police agent, for any innocent agent, for Como himself that will attempt to plant evidence among protesters. On that day, we have them apprehended. We will institute citizens arrest. Not even Como, it will be spare citizens arrest if it crosses this line. We will guard that protest. It will be peaceful, but it remains irreversible. Let me tell you something. We're not talking about protests of 500 persons. We are talking a protest of tens of thousands of Liberian nationals. I have been to the communities. I know the exuberance of the Liberian people. I know what is to come on July 17th. That is why I advise you. Now, it's going to be very peaceful. If there will be violence on that day, it will never be altered by protesters, by peaceful protesters. It may be orchestrated by the banditry of the police under the command of Gregory Como. Now, I can tell you this much. If a police agent or innocent agent is among protesters, it means that he will stand surrounded, or he will stand overshadowed by tens of thousands of people. And if there's evidence that they are attempting to plant guns or to plant evidence to sabotage the protest, they will easily be arrested by citizens without any violence. We can assure you that. There will be citizens arrest. And if Gregory Comer himself is caught in that, I can assure you, power is inherent in the people. He will be apprehended. He will not be spared. Anyone that crosses the red line, to want to plant evidence among protesters, to want to create the assumption or to create a scenario that there are guns among protesters so as to kill innocent protesters, peaceful protesters, we will ensure our citizen arrest mechanism by our network of citizens will be initiated to keep our people safe and to make sure there will be no brutality on the day of this protest, because it's about this country. Liberia has come a long way for almost 200 years to continue to go down the drain of misgovernance and corruption.
If you are just joining us, this is a reminder that you are listening to K News at 6, or 45 minutes of regular newscast presentation from the News and Current Affairs Department of Cool 101.9 FM. My name is Lorena Wise, presenting this July 10, 2025 edition of K News. And for our next development, the leadership of the disbanded and demobilized personnel of the Armed Forces of Liberia is advising the veteran community against being part of any protest against the government of Liberia. Chairman of the disbanded and demobilized Army personnel, retired Major Larry Jalai, said that
it has come to the attention of the leadership of the veteran community that there is a planned protest scheduled for.
Addressing a press conference on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Major Jalai said veterans are not politicians, and as such they should leave political protests to political parties and politicians. The group appealed to President and Commander-in-Chief Joseph Boakai to appoint the new management team for the National Bureau of Veteran Affairs. According to retired Major Jalai, such move will allow retired Army officers to begin the implementation of segments of the government's arrest agenda for inclusive development.
It has come to the attention of the leadership of the veteran community that there is a planned protest scheduled for the 17th of July 2025 by some members of the opposition community in Monrovia against the constituted government of the Republic of Liberia. While veterans have the constitutional right to express their views on public issues, their participation in political protests or rallies is subject to specific restrictions as per the UCMJ, not to undermine the state as well as the government and constitution of Liberia. As former officers and enlisted personnel of the Armed Forces of Liberia, we too, like other Liberians and foreigners alike, pay the utmost price for the durable peace we are enjoying today in our country. Civilians as well as soldiers, police, immigration, SSS, now EPS, and other security personnel died to bring peace to Liberia.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the veteran community extends thanks and appreciation to the Board of Directors of the National Bureau of Veteran Affairs, Republic of Liberia, for spearheading the vetting of veteran candidates for onward transmission to the President of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr., Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, for appointment to various positions within the National Bureau of Veteran Affairs. Finally, as we strive to place the Bureau on par with other government agencies based on integrity and performance, it is the hope of the leadership that veterans accused of alleged corruption in the past will not be considered. The maxim of the President for no business as usual must be of paramount importance in this case.
We commend President Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. for mustering the courage to apologize to all Liberians and foreigners alike who endured the civil wars. We veteran community also thank the President for the burial and reburial of our past leaders including our former First Lady, Mother Nancy Bone Doe. The courage to do what our current Commander-in-Chief did will be remembered forever. As veterans, we will continue to be loyal to the government in power and will also continue to work under the authority of the Ministry of National Defense whenever our professional expertise is required.
The senior advisor to the Director General at the Center for National Documents and Record Agency has called for sweeping reforms in the country's education sector. Ebenezer Bobo emphasized the urgent need to overhaul the national curriculum to reflect international standards. Speaking with K News on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Bobo urged that the current education structure is overloaded with too many subjects, which he believes hinder students from focusing on their future careers at an early stage. He maintained that the number of subjects that students are made to study is too burdensome, stressing the need for complete reduction that allows students to concentrate on career path beginning from the 7th grade to high school graduation.
You got a lecture in the 7th grade doing 14 subjects, 17 subjects. I think it's illogical. There is a need for total reform. Let our students be specialized, at least from 7th grade. We can start teaching accounting. If that student decides to be an accountant, he starts to learn the fundamentals, 7th grade, 8th grade. So by the time he gets to 12th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, he has understood maybe first or second semester of the course at the university level. And then getting there, it increases his passion. Started this discussion with the Standing Committee on Education Chairperson at the Liberian Senate, Honorable Senator Nathaniel Fallow-Magee. And indeed, there's a need for reform. And by virtue of a position, I think he has a cardinal role, a committee has a cardinal role to play in collaborating with the Ministry of Education to have a review of some of these things. Because we cannot continue in this manner and form. And another thing I spoke about, the number of times the students stay in school is too long. If they can set up a criteria or a benchmark that every semester student will be promoted based on a specific Irish, a grade point. If that student can make an Irish of 90%, that student should not be in that class. He will be given automatic promotion. So if that promotion from the elementary level can stop at 8th grade, within that period, a lot of the students will go further.
And for our international development, Lesotho has declared a 2-year national stage disaster in response to soaring unemployment triggered by sharp economic blow from U.S. imposed tariffs. In April, former U.S. President Donald Trump reinstated a 50% tariff on goods from Lesotho, a move that has devastated the country's third industrial one of its biggest employers. Whereas how the companies have this edition of K-News has said it's been a joint effort from the department now presented.